Hello chess enthusiasts, my name is Miha and welcome to my chessrealm YouTube channel. So European Championship in Serbia is still underway. Let's go to the fourth round, duel between international master Nikolozi Kacharava and grandmaster Eltaj Safarli. Let's see what happened. Kacharava had white pieces and he started with e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, d4, and we have a Scotch defense. Well, we don't see that very often. So e4 captures on d4, knight recaptures, bishop to c5, double attack on knight on d4, knight goes to b3, attacking bishop on c5, so bishop goes to b4 check, white defends with c3, and bishop goes back to e7. And now white continues with the development, f4 was played, d6, and now bishop to d3, and now in this position black has decided to deliver check with bishop to h4. Of course, white doesn't want to lose right to castle, so has to push the b-pawn, and this is what happened. G-pawn, g3 was played, defending the check, and the idea, of course, is black wants to weaken pawn structure around the black king on the king side, so bishop, of course, goes back to e7. White continues with bishop to e3, black plays knight to f6, queen goes to e2, and now black plays a5, preparing a4, driving this knight from b3 away. So white immediately counteracts with the a4, blocking the pawn. And now black plays bishop to g4, attacking queen on e2. White removes the queen to g2, and now black strikes the center with d5, targeting pawn on e4. Now capturing this pawn on d5 is not the best option, because if white captures on d5, knight simply recapture, attacking this bishop on e3. Bishop goes, let's say, to d2, simply knight goes f4, attacking the queen. And of course, if bishop recapture, then this bishop on d3 is for free. With king in the open, this is totally losing for white. And if, for example, white should defend with the queen to f2, simply knight captures on e3, queen recaptures, queen to d5, attacking both rook on h1 and knight on b3. So in the game, white has decided to play e5, attacking a knight on f6. Knight doesn't have a lot of good squares, so black plays knight goes to e4. Of course, knight is a double attack once defended, but if bishop captures on e4, if the pawn recaptures, queen recaptures, we have queen to d1 check. King could only go to f2. After queen to e2, the only possibility for white king is g1. And then black would play bishop to f3, threatening with checkmate here on g2, and also attacking the queen, and queen would have to be sacrificed, and this is totally losing for white. So in the game, white plays a knight from the first rank goes to d2. Now knight on e4 is 3 times attack, and has to do something about it. Knight captures on d2, bishop recaptures, and now queen to d7, supporting bishop on g4, preparing a bishop to h3. For example, white castles king side, simply bishop to h3, and there goes our rook. So white continues with bishop to g5, pinning this knight to the queen. Black castles king side, and white plays now knight goes to d4, further putting pressure on this knight on c6. And black expect that white at some point will play h3, attacking bishop here on g4, harassing him. So black plays immediately bishop goes to h3, blocking this h-pawn, attacking the queen. Queen goes to f2, and now black has decided to play f6, attacking pawn on e5, trying to undermine this strong pawn chain here in the center. And white has to be careful, because if f-pawn captures, white cannot capture, because this rook controls the f-file. So white has decided to capture on f6, bishop recaptures. And now e-file is open, so white king can get easily harassed. So white cannot castle king side, and therefore white castles queen side. And now black has decided to trade some more material. Bishop captures on d4. Now both a pawn or queen can capture, but if a queen captures on d4, knight captures queen. Of course, white recaptures black queen. Of course, white attacks the knight, and black attacks the bishop, but in this position, simply knight to e2 check, and when this king is removed, the bishop is for free. So white has no other option but to recapture with the c pawn. So c pawn captures on d4. Bishop now goes to f5, taking away this c2 and b1 square. So black actually only needs knight to b4 and later with knight to a2 with the checkmate. So white immediately creates an escape square. Bishop goes to c3. Black continues with queen to d6, getting the queen out of the pin. And white has decided to trade some more material. Bishop goes to d3, offering the trade of bishop. And black says, okay, let's do it. Bishop captures on d3, rook recaptures. And now black continues with knight goes to b4, attacking rook on d3. Now white has to be careful. If, for example, white removes the rook, let's say to d1, simply queen to c6. Pawn on a4 is under attack. Now there's no way white could defend it because after queen to c2, of course, c2 square is protected by the knight. So here black grabs a pawn with a strong initiative on the queen side. This is very unpleasant, if not totally lost for white. So white more or less had no other option but to capture this knight. So bishop captures on b4, a pawn recaptures, and now white continues with queen to c2, protecting this pawn on a4, who is attacked by a rook on a8, and black continues with rook to a6, preparing rook to c6, trying to grab this queen on c2. So white immediately gets his king out of the c file. So king goes to d2, and now black continues with rook goes to c6. And we have reached the critical position in the game. The position around the white king is very bad, and it's a very double-edged position. It's not easy to advise white what to do, but maybe if white could try with queen to, I don't know, b3, at least queen and rook would be protected. Later with rook to e1, trying to grab this e file would maybe be totally solid continuation. And in the game, however, in this position, white makes a fatal blunder. Queen to d1 was played. And black immediately grabs the opportunity and continues with rook captures on f4. So black sacrificed the rook for a pawn, actually more pawns, as you will see. And of course, black threatens maybe rook to e4, taking over this e file. Now c file is already taken, and this would be very, very bad for white king. And if, for example, white would try to counteract on the f file with rook to f1, simply rook captures on f1, queen recaptures, queen to h6 check. If king goes to d1 or let's say e1, simply rook to c1, skewering king, gaining this queen. And if, for example, king goes to e2, simply rook to c2 check. Now the only option is let's say king to f3, but after queen to c6, of course, black could gain the decisive material advantage, but this is actually mate in 6 mode, but I'll leave this for you to find it. So in the game, in this position, white had no other option but to accept the sacrifice, so g pawn captures on f4, and now queen to f4 check. Now there are a couple of ways to defend the check, either with a rook or maybe king to e2 or e1. Well, let's say if king goes to e1, rook to e6 check. Now king cannot go anywhere and can only defend the check with the queen, but after rook captures on e2, king recaptures. Of course, two rooks versus queen, but after queen to e4, both king and rook are under attack, and here black gains another rook, and this is winning for black. So in the game, white defends the check with rook to e3, and now black continues with queen to d4 check. Of course, king still has to protect this rook on e3, so king to e2 was played, and now queen to b2 check. Now let's see, if king goes to e1 or f1, simply again rook to c1, again pinning this queen, gaining this queen versus two rooks, but black would have additional pawns here on the queen side, so this is winning for black. And if, for example, white plays king to f3, simply we have rook to f6. It's made in a couple of moves. Now there are more options. Let's say if king goes to g3, queen to f2 check. Let's say king to g4, rook to f4 check, king to g5, and queen to h4 is checkmate. Now there are other sub variations, but in all of them it's made in a couple of moves. So in the game, White plays king goes to d3. And black continues with attacking the king. Rook to c3 was played, check. King has no other option but to go to d4. And now, of course, c5 check, driving this king away from defending rook on e3. And now king has no other option but to play king captures pawn on d5. And now black captures rook on e3. Now both sides have a queen and a rook, but black has additional 3 pawns, so this is already winning for black, especially because white king is here in the open. Still, white tried with king to c4, opening the d file, preparing this queen to d5, attacking the king, and later with rook to f1. Well, this would be very unpleasant for black actually, so black has to act immediately. Rook to e8 was played, defending the last rank, and white continues with rook to f1. And now there are many ways to finish the white king. Queen to a2 was played in the game, it's check, so black is tempting white to capture as much pawn as possible to open the lines, and this is what white did. King captures on c5, and now black further sacrificed another pawn. b6 was played, check. Well, this time white doesn't capture. King to b5 was played, and now rook to e5. Now let's see, white has more option, but let's say if king captures on b4, again rook to e4 check, again more option, but let's say if king goes back to b5, simply queen to c4 check. The only option is now king captures pawn on b6, rook to e6 check, king let's say b7, queen to c7, king let's say to a7, queen to c7, and it's going to be here mate in the next move. Okay, so in the game, white captured pawn on b6, now queen to e6 was played, king goes to b7, and now rook to d5. And black has a simple plan, queen is under attack. If white removes the queen, then we have a rook on d7, later with queen to e8 is going to be checkmate. The only way to stop this here is if white sacrifices the queen, but then black has decisive material advantage. And realizing that all is lost in this position, Nikolozi Kacharava resigned the game. So I hope you like this game, I hope you have learned something from it. If you have any questions, my email is below in the description. Of course, I invite you to visit my Instagram page. That's it for now, and see you soon.